Is China about to replace the United States as the world's sole superpower? Look closely at Beijing right now. Numerically, China now fields the world's largest navy. They are actively constructing a fortress economy. This means a closed economic system designed to survive Western sanctions. But how are they accelerating this historic rise? Beijing appears to benefit strategically from Middle East instability. While Washington spends resources in the desert, Beijing is quietly profiting. The US is often using expensive interceptors against much cheaper threats. This is a mathematical nightmare for the Pentagon. Think of it like a national bank account. Washington is heavily overdrawing its military account on daily skirmishes. Beijing is simply accumulating capital and waiting. Crucially, China is not firing a single shot. Instead, they act as the ultimate free rider. A free rider is someone who benefits without paying the cost. American taxpayers are paying billions to police global sea lanes. Meanwhile, China quietly buys record amounts of discounted Iranian oil. So, why does this matter to you? Because this shadow strategy directly impacts your taxes and US deterrence. Deterrence is the military power to prevent future larger wars. Beijing is apparently using these proxy conflicts as an asymmetric trap. Every precision weapon deployed in the Middle East is one less for the Pacific. The US defense industrial base is under visible strain. Production capacity is now a major strategic issue. Are we drifting into the kind of fight Beijing can exploit? In this video, we will explain what is really going on. Let's look at the numbers. China recently set its economic growth target at around 5%. Many investors saw this as economic weakness. However, strategic analysts see something entirely different. Beijing appears willing to accept slower growth for economic resilience. They are actively building a fortress economy. What does this mean? It is an economic model designed to be more shock resistant. They prioritize self-reliance in critical sectors over rapid, fragile growth. Think of it like preparing for a harsh economic winter. Beijing wants less exposure if the US imposes severe trade blockades. But a fortress has one critical weakness. It needs constant fuel to survive a long siege. China is the world's largest crude oil importer. You can manufacture microchips, but you cannot print oil. This brings us directly to their relationship with Iran. Make no mistake, this is not a friendship built on shared values. It is a highly efficient transactional alliance. This means both sides primarily care about immediate tangible benefits. Iran is currently isolated and heavily sanctioned by the West. Their government needs oil revenue to sustain its sanctions resilience, so they sell massive amounts of crude oil to China. Reportedly, China absorbs roughly 1.3 to 1.5 million barrels daily. Sometimes this import number is far higher, and they are getting it at incredibly steep discounts. Let's pause and ask, why does this matter to you? Your local gas prices might be high due to inflation. Meanwhile, discounted energy lowers input costs for China's industrial system. This preserves cost advantages in their energy-intensive sectors. But the crucial part of this alliance is the payment. Beijing is actively expanding parallel payment routes for this trade. They are increasingly utilizing yuan-based settlement channels. This means buying international oil directly with Chinese currency. Traditionally, global oil is traded overwhelmingly in US dollars. This gives Washington powerful visibility and leverage through financial systems. But parallel channels reduce exposure to US-controlled banking networks. They make American sanctions enforcement much harder at the margins. If Iran sustains its economy using Chinese money, a strategic precedent is set. It signals trade can be routed with less dependence on Washington. If these parallel routes expand, America's greatest economic weapon weakens. Economic sanctions become less universal and far less automatic. Let's shift from the global economy to the actual battlefield. The US is currently fighting Iranian proxies in the Middle East, but look closer at the weapons targeting American forces. Where do these cheap drones get their advanced microchips? Reportedly, a massive amount of dual-use technology flows directly from China. Dual-use technology means civilian components that can be repurposed for military weapons. Beijing is not officially arming these proxy groups. However, they are apparently acting as an asymmetric enabler. This simply means they act as a shadow supplier. They provide the cheap technical components that keep the Middle Eastern conflicts burning. So, why does China want this fire to keep burning? Because it creates a fatal strategic vacuum in the Pacific. A strategic vacuum is an empty space left undefended. Every single day, the Pentagon fires multi-million-dollar precision missiles in the desert. The US defense industry cannot manufacture replacements fast enough. Think of it like emptying a fire extinguisher on a small campfire. You will have absolutely nothing left when your actual house catches fire. For Washington, that house is the Indo-Pacific region. While America burns through its high-tech stockpile, what is Beijing doing? They are quietly building the largest naval force in human history. Currently, US shipyards are struggling just to maintain existing vessels. Meanwhile, Chinese shipyards are launching new nuclear submarines and advanced destroyers. They are actively outproducing the United States Navy at an alarming rate. They are rapidly expanding militarized artificial islands in the South China Sea. Crucially, they are tightening their military grip around Taiwan. If a major crisis erupts in Asia tomorrow, America faces a terrifying reality. The US might not have enough precision munitions to defend its allies. This is the ultimate asymmetric trap. Beijing is successfully winning the arms race in its own backyard, and they are doing it by fueling strategic distractions thousands of miles away. Let's shift from military hardware to the ultimate battlefield. For Beijing, advanced warships are simply tools. Their actual target is the American financial architecture. Remember that massive Iranian oil trade? Beijing is using Iran as a strategic financial test. They are actively expanding a payment system called CIPS. CIPS is China's alternative to the Western SWIFT network. This continuous oil trade is a proof of concept. It proves an alternative system actually works in reality. China is sending a clear message to emerging economies. Beijing does not need to kill the US dollar. It only needs to make it less unavoidable. They are proving global energy can be traded smoothly. Crucially, you can do this without touching American banks. Think of the US dollar like a global toll booth. Washington controls the gates and dictates who passes through. Now China is quietly building a parallel financial highway. China is learning how to profit from a world the US still feels responsible for managing. If global oil slowly bypasses American banking networks, what happens? Washington loses its absolute greatest strategic superpower. Economic sanctions do not completely disappear. They just stop being automatic. Let's bring all these strategic pieces together. The Middle East conflict is not just a regional war. America bears the heavy cost of maintaining global order. Meanwhile, Beijing is learning to profit without paying the bill. China is playing Go. This ancient game is not about quick knockouts. It is about slowly eroding your opponent's position. America is burning expensive missiles and stretching its industrial capacity. Meanwhile, Beijing is quietly expanding its numerical naval advantage. Crucially, they are building a more sanctions-resistant financial system. They are creating small cracks in global dollar dependence. Beijing does not need America to lose everywhere. It only needs American foreign policy to stay incredibly expensive. This creates a severe two-theater dilemma for Washington. Can America still afford the burden of a two-theater strategy? Or must Washington force a harsh prioritization of its global resources? There are no easy answers to this strategic trap. But ignoring Beijing's structural long game is no longer viable. We want to hear your strategic analysis. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more sharp geopolitical analysis.